Okay, and we're live. For anybody watching this, welcome to another random Friday night Paintisode. I am Mittierim. I'm sure you know that since you're on my channel. Hanging out with me tonight is Vince Venturella. Vince, I'm sure everybody on my channel knows you, but if you'd like to intro, go right ahead.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening on what is probably, unless you're in one of the smart parts of country, a very snow or cold evening.
Absolutely. So no real topics tonight. We're just going to kind of get together, do some painting, chat a bit. I sent out a couple other invites, so maybe folks will drop by and come chat with us. If you happen to be seeing this and you would like to come and join us in chat, feel free to leave something in the comments. I'm going to be setting them up here so that I can see them as soon as Google/YouTube decides to stop being jerky and slow. But it's no real pressure. We're just going to choose that and what have you. So
Right
there
on.
you go. So what you working on, Vince?
Oh, what I will be working on for probably quite a long time to come, and that is my new army. As I mentioned, I don't know where I mentioned it, but I like rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. And so, of
Mm-hmm.
course, with all of this going on, and people are like, that is to say, all the next edition rumors and all this. I'm like, what's the right answer? Bretonian army. That's what the right answer is. Let's get into that all the way. And, my main motivation for it is honestly, I could care less. The army hasn't had a new book since 6th edition. I don't really care if it ever has another one again. I still want to own this army because I think it's beautiful. And for me, it's a hobbying and painting challenge because I think it is the toughest army to hobby and paint.
Having only attempted it once, I will absolutely agree with that. Having to come up with a different sort of paint scheme for everything you're doing is a giant pain in the ass.
Yeah, I mean you're exactly right. Like every night is his own little unique and beautiful snowflake, right? Like they're all
Right.
none of them can be the same, or you failed at the army, as it were. I've seen people who do like the Teutonic Knights thing, where they make them all like the white knights with the red crosses or black crosses or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the look. I think it detracts from it. You look like you're just playing Empire. Like that's fine when you're Empire.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, I seem to be joining you on your deck chair rearranging because I am working on my new Lizardmen army.
Yeah, all
Um,
right.
Fortunately, I got my holiday presents about a week early, so I have a whole load of stuff to do. Unfortunately, no spaceships because apparently they have spaceships now. I'm
I'm told,
feeling
yeah,
left
that's the
out.
case. But the way I look at it is like this. I'm pretty sure these Bretonians in your lizard men are legal in 8th edition. I'm pretty sure I heard that was a thing. So
Hmm.
I don't really care. Like I know I'll always have at least one edition to play this army in, and possibly others.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I I've just wanted to do this one, and again, kind of as a painting challenge and what have you. So that's kind of why I'm doing it. In fact, the only reason I'm painting right now is I got my first unit of Saurus done, and Alicia looked at them and liked everything except for the standard, which she set up phone. So she told me a new one about the standard, and so I'm redoing the standard.
Gotcha.
um, I
Well,
was
the
just
only
I was
reason I am painting right now is because I don't have a life, and this is all I do. So
right.
that's pretty much me.
Yeah. Well, and by that I mean with what we were talking about earlier about not having been able to prime anything. This
Oh,
is the
sure, sure.
last bit of priming I have. Once I get that done, I am going to begin assembling step 2, which is my first of 2 boxes of skinks.
Nice. Now, I've
Um,
never actually seen the new skink box. Like, my good buddy has a Lizardman army. He's actually got quite a big force. Like, I think he's got 85 skinks, like about 50 Saurus, 30 Temple Guard, 3 Steggies, all the old Salamanders. But the trick is, his is all like really old. Most of the Force comes from. You remember that was it the 5th or 6th edition box set that had Lizardmen in it? It was like Lizardmen and Bretonia.
5th edition.
Yeah.
That was where I started the game.
Gotcha.
Oh,
So
hey.
yeah, that's what he has.
Hey.
We are being joined. Yay.
What's up, guys?
Not much. What's up with you?
I'm sitting here in the living room playing my Hyrule Warriors game because I have nothing to paint because it's too freaking cold.
You are at a weird angle right now. This is like the very artistic angle that you are joining us from. Like, I said askew, but you were like seriously askew.
That's because she's playing video games.
Mm-hmm.
Can you turn the volume on that down, sweetie? Because it's coming straight through this thing.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. Turn it
Better?
off on the...
Better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
So...
I like being able to hear my guy kill things.
That's fine. I just don't want to have that be the only thing we can hear.
The soundtrack to this Paintisode.
Yeah.
Link murdering bitches.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I
guess he murders things. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know if like tiny rock spitting monsters can be murdered. I mean, do you murder like if you like step on a big bug, is that murdering the bug? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, technically I'm murdering moblins right now. Which would be more like goblins, I suppose.
And we know you can't murder goblins, so that's a no.
So, it's a funny thing you mentioned. I'll tell a quick story here that will probably be of interest to no one, but that's all right. So back at the height of 4th edition of Dungeons and Dragons, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I started a big sort of topic out there about, is 4th edition actually Dungeons and Dragons? And by the way, just in case, let's just put a pin in this conversation as well. We can come back to this like a year from now if 9th edition's really, really weird, and we can have the same conversation of is 9th edition Warhammer really Warhammer. But anyways,
right.
So I started this thing of, is 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons really Dungeons and Dragons? And, I said, what is the quintessential element of it? And it's that you and I talked about this a bit on, like the Warhammer Weekly thread of like
right.
What defines the game, what defines an army. It's hard to get your finger on, right? Like you can kind of see the outer edges of the thing, but it's hard to like make a bullet point list and say this is what has to be there.
Right.
And so there was a lot of discussion about it, and people were arguing back and forth of like, is it D&D or not? And this one guy came in, and I disagreed with his point because he said yes. My basic premise was no, it wasn't. But
I agree.
Yeah.
Totally.
You were correct. So.
Yeah. Yes, I believe that to be the case, and I think that it's not that there weren't one or two good ideas in it. There were. Any game of that magnitude better have one or two good ideas in it. But on the whole, it was not D&D.
Right.
Marketably as an MMO on tabletop.
Yeah, I think that that was the thing leveraged against it in the beginning, and honestly, I pushed back against that. But when it first started, but the more I played it, I was like, nope, that is what we're doing. It is in fact that. It's absolutely the video game revolution having its influence, the snake eating its own tail. But
yeah.
To come back to the what the guy responded with, he said, yes, it's still D&D because it still contains the quintessential thing that defines D&D, which is racially based home invasion, murder, and theft. And I was like, that is the most succinct and accurate description of D&D I have ever heard. Racially based home invasion, murder, and theft. So there you go.
Yes.
While I agree that is true, I don't agree that that's a good definition for just D&D because there are far too many games that include that.
Oh, absolutely. I just thought that was a truly hilarious summation of what it was for what is D&D.
So let's go back to what we were starting to talk about before Alicia came in. You were saying you had not seen the new Skink Box and your friend.
Oh yeah. So he has all the old 5th edition stuff, and honestly, like, those sculpts are not impressive. Like, I mean, no, not to bag on whatever, but like the Sauruses are pretty dopey looking,
Yeah.
and the Skinks are like, I don't know, man, they're really simple. So I'm curious as to like what's the quality of those new Skinks, and like how many pieces are they? Like, I've never even seen one of the boxes open, so I don't.
Well,
I mean, obviously I've seen them in videos and stuff, but never like I've seen an unboxing.
I have not opened it yet because I am firmly in the camp that I'm not going to open one box until the first box is finished painting.
It's a good habit to be in.
So,
I support this fully.
Yeah. I haven't been able to do any of the basing because I'm waiting on priming the sand onto the bases and stuff, and like I said, it's been a problem. But once I get done with fixing this standard, I'm going to open it up. I was really surprised at the Saurus, to kind of talk about them. They were in a lot more pieces than I expected them to be.
Like, how complicated were they? Like, what are you putting together when you crack a Saurus?
Well, you basically get the Saurus body, and you have to put on both legs, both arms, and the head. One of the arms has either a spear or a sword in it, and then the shields are all separate. They're not attached to the arms, so you can attach them. And strangely enough, like, all of the bases are slotted, and like half of the slot is on the bottom of each foot. So you have to like glue the slot together in the middle.
Annoying.
I don't know. I actually kind of like it.
Okay.
Just because that's the only way you could really do a slotted base with it like that. And the way the Saurus's feet are, I think it would be hard to get the balance right if you're just gluing the feet in. Because they don't have the tails where they're touching the ground, so the tails aren't going to be like a glue point to help balance it. So I kind of like the slot being there. It gives more, in my opinion, more control over gluing the model. But
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm not opposed to slotted bases or anything like that. I have 150 clan rats that say I'm not opposed to slotted bases.
Right.
But like, I will say that on the whole, I prefer not to have things slotted. That's just because usually I like guys standing on rocks and stuff like that, and it's when you get a slotted base, now I've got to cover that freaking thing up and stuff like that. I mean, again, not the end of the world, just it's whatever.
Well, you know my general feelings on doing basing anyway.
Sure.
So I feel a little weird to be doing it on this army as is. So.
Hey, I am excited for you.
Are you?
I am. I really am. That's not a joke or pandering at all. I can't wait to see it. I love basing. I do. It is one of my favorite things. You want to know how much I love basing, Mittierim? Yeah. Let me show you something. Let me show you a Pegasus Knight that I just based today. I started basing out my Peg Knights. So we'll start with the much more mundane one. Here we go. He's not painted or anything. There you go. Can you see that?
Need to lift it up a little higher. Now it's switched on me. Hold on.
All right, there we go. Here, I'll talk so that way it stays.
Oh, wow.
So
Holy crap.
Gothic
That,
ruins.
sir, is a big old massive hunk of base.
Yes, indeed. Now, this is the less impressive one. Get ready. Here we go. I have many of these that I've done in all sorts of crazy positions, but here's my favorite one I've done so far. All right. He's not actually glued in yet, but he should stay. He's on a... There you go. How's that for his angle? There you go.
Oh my god.
He's charging.
Well, you are pretty much a nut job to begin with, so with all of the conversions and everything, so that doesn't super surprise me.
Yes, and like amazingly, I got him tall enough to where the center of gravity, he will stand. Like this thing doesn't. There's nowhere I can set it, but yeah, he doesn't fall over.
That's funny. Well, for what it's worth, I'm not basing anything that crazy. It's mainly going to be sand and some static grass, and I leave open the option to put flowers and stuff on it later, but
sure.
I'm not sure that I'm going to be doing that because with the bright colors present in the army. I don't know if I want to do more bright on the base or do darker on the base so it offsets it a little. I'm not real sure on that yet.
That's fair. I think that's fair. If you do decide to just like, when it comes to like flowers and stuff, I like to scatter, especially when it comes to like a unit. I like to scatter just a little bit of it around, but not go too over the top. And I think maybe Alicia, didn't I see you use the like Army Painter flower set sometime in the past?
Nope.
Okay.
Not me.
Maybe. Gotcha. Well, Army Painter makes a really nice flower set that's like half yellow flowers and half white flowers.
Yeah, we saw that at our local store, but like I said, I didn't go ahead and nab it up because I'm thinking I want to just go a little more plain, particularly for my first attempts here.
Sure. Do you got any bigger guys though, like Steggies and stuff like that, Bastillodon?
Yes. I actually the stuff that my mother got me for my birthday. Let's see, Salon Mage Priest.
Nice. Yep. Mr. Frog. You fly, Froggy.
Nice Steggy.
Oh yeah.
Bastillodon.
Awesome.
And looks like the Pterodon Ripperdactyl kit.
Oh hell yeah!
I
love those Pterodons so much.
I'm still deciding whether I want to do them as Pterodons or Rippers.
I don't know what the modeling difference is, but Rippers. Always Rippers.
Why?
Because Pterodons are just Pterodons, but Ripperdactyls are Ripper-Dipper-Doos, as Reefy the White has taught us. When he's like, I'm going to send in the Ripper-Dipper-Doos. Like, that is fantastic. That's always Ripperdactyls.
I like those. My main problem is, with what we're starting with for the campaign, I think I need more shooty, and the Ripperdactyls don't have a shooting option. They just kind of rush in your face and die.
Well, they kill something else when they rush. I mean, come on, if you hit the thing that's got the frog token. Like I said, I know their rules a little, and I know they blow the hell out of a unit they hit that has that frog token on it. Because I think their frenzy gives them like an extra D3 or D3 plus 1 attack.
It's something. A D3 plus 1 on the frog tokens. The problem is they're like leadership 5 with frenzy. So the chances of a competent player letting you get there is pretty slim.
Well, that's fair. They are also cold-blooded, though. It's amazing how good leadership 5 is on cold-blooded.
Right. And like I said, I'm planning on getting both of them. Like I'm planning on doing both Pterodons and Rippers at some point. I'm just not sure which one to go with to start. Now the argument could be because I'm going so skink heavy that the Rippers and giving me some close combat action could be worthwhile. Or the other argument is having the Pterodons as reliable war machine hunters and redirectors could be a better benefit too. I'm not really sure. If there's anybody out there who has some experience with either unit and would like to clue me in on which one would be best, that would be super welcome.
I got nothing for you on that one. I kill Lizardmen sometimes, I don't play them.
Apparently no one does. I've been looking for a Lizardman guest to be on Narrations and Lamentations for God since we started doing this, and nobody is stepping up.
You know, it's probably kind of true. Like, I think like about the battle reports that I watch. How often do you watch a battle report with Lizardmen in it?
Never.
When Lord Tremendous plays Token Gal.
Yeah, that's fair.
She's a Lizardman player, and Reef,
which is rare.
When he does his, and those are the only two I know of off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think like there is just no. You know what? Maybe that army should die. Clearly, no one's playing it. So there we go. That's I guess it's not. You're gonna.
I think my thought is that there's just too many people because there used to be more. Like you can go look at old 7th edition bat reps, and there was more of them.
Yep.
I think people just got butthurt that they nerfed the Salon down from being Super God. And you just had like this mass exodus away from the Lizardmen at that point.
It's probably true. And the thing that's so funny about that is, I think I totally understand why you picked the army and talking about like as a next step in your painting, and I think the army is absolutely cool as all hell, and I think as a painting, as a hobbying opportunity, they are up at the top of the list because the color schemes you can use, there's almost no limit. The models are these awesome big monsters and stuff all over the place, Oh my god, those dinosaurs are just so awesome, and there's just tons of them. And yeah, so I'm in. I don't know, man.
For me,
I think you're right. People are just butthurt over the salon change.
Yeah. For me, I tell you what is doing it for me and what made me decide to go with them was just the ability to use all of the bright colors that I'm not using for any other army.
Sure. Yeah,
hey, there's Skip.
Hey, Skip.
Hey.
How's it going, brother?
Pretty cold. How about y'all?
Just the same.
Not leaving the house ever. Refuse to.
So what you working on tonight, man?
My Lich Priest.
Very nice.
Hmm.
I am sitting here screwing up my vision of this freaking Saurus pole. Standard pole.
That's what she said.
Yep.
Yeah, I told him to screw it up.
Yep. Now, the problem is like I originally went very basic. Because I had the image of like... I tell you what I had the image of. Have you guys ever seen Prince of Egypt?
Yeah, sure.
You know the scene where he like goes in and there's all the hieroglyphics on the walls and it starts telling the story and it's all done in like just these bright primary colors?
Yeah.
Like that's what I got the image of for their standards. Is just a very sort of flat, super bright colors, and that's what I did, and Alicia said it was shit and I needed to redo it.
Yep.
So now I'm redoing it, and I can't, like, I re-inked it so that the lines come out and you can see it, but now it's too dark and I can't fix it, and it's looking like crap the more I do to it.
You need to,
Let it
like,
dry.
I'll let her go.
Yeah, let it dry, and then highlight it, and it will look fine, or at least better than, here, let me just put some freaking base coats on the bed.
I did do that the first time. You just don't understand my base coats, that's all.
Oh, you mean the fact that your base... I don't even know where to go from there. I'm too busy killing things and having fun.
Well, good. You kill things, have fun, and stop picking on me.
Nope.
She's good at multitasking. Why limit herself to just one thing that's fun for her?
Very true.
If you re-inked, by the way, the key is like how thin is your paint when you're going back over that?
To do what?
When you're going back over it with color, so like post inking, how thin is your paint you're putting on there?
I mean I'm more like dry brushing it back over. So,
okay. Because I find if you're gonna go back over an inked model, you want to get your paint like I'm not saying you should take it as thin as I do, because like I'm probably willing to spend more time and do 5 layers than you might be willing to do. But like I go for the consistency of skim milk. That's how thick the paint is I'm usually working with. So like my best advice is take it down to pretty thin and just do like 2 layers. You'll have much better results going back over ink because you'll still keep the color gradation of what was underneath it but it'll smooth all that roughness out.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm just gonna before I fuck with this anymore, I'm just gonna put it back in my box and let it dry, and work gluing these freaking skinks so I don't turn it into a mud standard. And
yes, I understand the will to not want to like I just have this last thing. Just let me get this done. I was so pissed at myself yesterday. You might have saw I posted up those 50+ peasants that I factory painted.
Yes, I did.
Yep.
And so I was doing the standard bearer last, and I was doing his standard, and I was on the last step. I had drawn all the runes and all the fleur de lis, etc. on the standard, and I was all done. And I was like, great. All I need to do is do this satin wash or satin varnish over the flag to make it look like cloth, and I'm done. And I just grabbed the brush and dipped in the satin varnish and went over it and was like, oh yeah, I just drew with a micro pen. What this is right here. By the way, these are a very useful tool if you don't have any. Highly recommend these for everybody. Here, a micro pen. What you want is this size, 005, 0.2 millimeter.
I love micro pens.
Yes.
Love
useful
those.
Thing. And what happened when I went over, fresh ink with some varnish? Zoop! Took the whole ink and smeared it all over the white that the black was on, and I was like, oh, okay.
No.
Way to trip at the finish line, dummy.
Wah, wah.
Exactly.
All right. I'm gonna let you guys chat. I forgot to get the clippers to clip out these skinkies. Be right back.
I really hope it doesn't screw up anything in my studio. Looking for them clippers. Realistically, we need a second set of clippers.
I just ordered a second set today because mine are getting a little dull. Funny you mentioned that. They have some nice ones on Amazon for like $6. I am always bargain basement when it comes to things because the reality is paying for nice materials and stuff like that is often a fool's errand because it's going to break and get worn down. When I buy my drill bits for pinning, I buy this pack right here, this little thing. You can see that. And that is like 10 pins of varying sizes that are very nice for using my pin. You might know them as paper clips. And those like drill bits come in packs of whatever, 10, 20 for $4.50 with free shipping. So yeah, I'm not buying nice pins because I snap those things like they're going out of style. Which, by the way, is also the answer to your conundrum you had during your Paintisode, Alicia.
Oh, what?
Yes.
Which conundrum was that?
Two things. One, first thing. Can you hear the clapping?
Green screen?
Yeah, the clapping is for having that thing that you were holding your mini on in the Damon F painting paint tutorial. You mentioned like Vince is going to be happy. I was super pleased. I was like, yes, way to go.
Well, here, upgrade your happiness, Vince. I've actually been doing it for my lizard men too.
Yes, all right.
It's a pain in the ass, and I hate it, but I've been.
It shouldn't be that hard. It's just a thing with a sticky.
They wobble. I feel like I have less control over it.
Make sure it's really stuck. This doesn't wobble.
Well, see, that's easier to do because you got the base on it already. I'm painting these guys without the bases on them, so I'm having to stick like the cross beam for the slot into it, and it's just they kind of do this motion as I'm painting them, and it really sucks.
Yeah. When you're doing it, that's true. Without a base, this is my preferred solution. There you go. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's what I go for when there's no base involved.
Unfortunately, I'm on a giant green screen, so I can't see what you're talking about.
It's just a cork, like the cork out of the top of a wine bottle with a the cork out of the top of a wine bottle with a paper clip stuck into it and then shoved up into the butt of the model. Like
there you go.
All it is.
Up the butt.
Right up the butt. What we go for, and it will hold the model very stable. The other trick, if you want to keep the base there, Mitt, is just like use like one little dab of super glue on the feet. Like don't glue them like you're trying to actually glue them. Just put a little tiny dot and a dot on both their little feet, and then later you can just take an X-Acto knife and they'll pop right off. If you want to have the base there. So. Just other options that I've run into, because yes, I do hate using a sticky tack on a baseless fig. It's pretty annoying. I will grant you that.
I had to brave Walmart. I had to go all the way to the paint section in Walmart to find poster tack. Why is it in the paint section? I have no idea, but it was this giant pain in the butt just to find that stuff.
What was it you were looking for? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The poster tag. I had to go all the way to Walmart to find the stuff. And was it right there with the posters? No. It was, like, all the way in the paint section.
Well, should I point out the irony of that you were looking, you were trying to find something for painting and found it in the painting section? Like, I mean, I don't want to be too on the nose with this, but...
Well, no, it was in the house painting section. Like, here, let me paint a wall. So
well, how else are you gonna secure your ladder? You just tack that to the wall, right? That's how you do it.
Sure, why not?
Can you guys tell that I'm absolutely worthless helping out with anything around the house?
That's all right. Not much better myself. Honestly, I've gotten much better at it recently, only because of modeling, because of like hobbying, because now I have to drill stuff and things like that all the time. So I got better at using the tools because of Warhammer minis.
So I opened up the skinks to answer your question from earlier,
Yes.
Vince. The skinks come with their legs set, so the head, the legs, and the bodies are all on, and you just put arms and the 2 arms on, and then
Gotcha.
shields. So.
Okay, awesome. That's what I was really hoping you were going to say. Honestly, I like that because I much prefer, for like rank and file dudes, I hate gluing legs on and crap like that. Like, just get them there, it's fine. If I need to reposition their legs, I will just do so, because you can cut a leg and reattach it pretty easily in a different position.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. I'm glad to know that. That's awesome. Less to glue, better. Some of my favorite things that I put together were those clan rats, like out of the Island of Blood set, where even the shield was already there. It's just rat, and you stick an arm in his side in a peg hole, and done. Call it a day. When you're going through a bunch of rank and file, complexity is not appreciated.
Yeah. That was kind of the pain in the butt with the Saurus, because like I say, I was having to do it like factory style, because I would get one leg on, then leave that to dry, and so I was assembling like 6 models at a time.
Sure. All right. Well, I mean, that tells me that you're super gluing and relying on the super glue to dry alone. Now, have we talked about accelerant before?
I'm just using the plastic glue. That stuff holds pretty quick.
Well, it doesn't hold instantly. And if you grab a bottle of that right there, there you go. There's your zap kicker. It'll work on any plastic glue. Accelerant. I have it in, obviously I don't dispense it out of that big jar. That's my backup. So I just put it in a little bottle like this. And 1 dab of glue and 1 dab of this, and it dries instantly. When I say instantly, I mean instantly. The second that accelerant touches the glue, the seal is set, and it burns so hot it will melt the plastic even harder than what you get out of normal plastic glue. That will be sealed solid forever.
See, I'm afraid of that because I'm terrible at putting the model pieces together. So I would screw something up, like I'm proceeding to do now while I'm talking and trying to glue this damn skink to the table.
Mm-hmm.
You wreck my table further, I will kick your butt.
Notice she had to use the word further.
Yes.
Because the man doesn't know how to use a paper towel. Keep paint off of it.
You gotta get yourself a little green mat, little green, self-healing mat thing. Or a paper towel. That also is pretty good. Or a piece of cardboard, or a big piece of paper. All those are good.
Yeah.
Because I started wrecking my desk real hard when I first started, and I was like, I better stop this before this becomes a problem I cannot recover from. But I hear you, and yeah, that's true. Because if you misglue it, like if you screw up the angle or whatever, you're absolutely right. It's like, well, that's like that forever now.
Yeah.
Once you accelerate it, there is no taking it back apart.
Yeah, for me, it's really like I get the glue there, and then it starts setting enough where it catches, and then once it starts catching, I can kind of position it where I need it.
Sure. And I mean, that's not a bad thing. I don't really tend to use the accelerant on two like guys that have the weapon and two arms. What do I say? Two-handed weapon, I guess, right? Like a double-handed sword, like a great sword.
Mhm.
Because exactly what you just said. Like I hate. Oh, that's like my least favorite models to put together. Things that have weapons in both hands, because it is impossible to ever get them lined up.
Yep.
Well, that's what I'm doing with at least 4 of these, because the way I'm split, because the skinks come in boxes of 24, which
Okay.
is just weird. So I bought Basilisk models from Reaper that I'm going to use as my salamanders.
Right.
So I'm doing like 4 out of the 24 as the models for the salamander.
Right. The handlers. Yeah.
Yeah, the handlers. And then, so I'm doing those with like a spear in one hand and their little weird weapon in the other one.
Right.
And then I'm doing all the rest of them with blowguns. Even with the cohort and not the skirmishers, I think it works better as a.
You mean like from a rules perspective, you like it better, or just look like you like it better?
Both.
Gotcha. I'm trying to think of which one's which. Which one's like they're both poison, right? But like the blowgun is multi-shot too. Is that right?
Right. And the javelins, and they're both 12-inch, so really that's all you're getting is that multi-shot 2, which frankly, for being poison and you just looking for the 6s anyway, getting the extra shots seems to be the better option there, in my opinion.
Is the javelin quick to fire, or is the blowpipe quick to fire? One of them is, I know.
I don't know. I'd have to check. I probably think the javelin is. I'm pretty sure the javelin is, actually.
Yeah, I think that's the one that makes me like the javelin. It's tough for me because you're absolutely right. You're really six fishing, but I really like the javelin just because it's quick to fire, so their stand and shoot tends to be like they can always take it. Like you're fleeing most of the time, but sometimes you just don't want to flee. And because like if there's a big monster charging you with like 1 wound left, hell, you'll probably bring him down. And I fear with the blowpipes getting pushed to 7's too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you're on base, their ballistic skill 3, the regular ones, the non-chameleons. Is that right?
I think they're 4 actually.
Oh really? Oh well, then maybe not. I thought the regular ones were 3.
You might be right. To be completely honest, I have not.
Haven't dug into the rules on them yet. I got it. I'm with you. Haven't internalized all the rules yet because you haven't got it. You have to really play them to internalize the rules, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll look it up later. I'm not.
It's all good. It's no big deal. Anyway, I think the one that was multi-shot, like my fear is getting pushed to 7s, and because then you lose that poison. And when you've got like move, range, which you're almost always suffering from, I'm already on 4, 5, 6. If I then multi-shot, boom, 7s. So
Yeah.
Because like a 12-inch range, you're not hanging out in short range very often.
No. That is something to think about. I don't know. I think I like just the way the blowpipes look, though, better.
That is totally fair because they certainly have a much cooler look to them. That I'm with you 100% on.
It's like, I'm finding all my pieces. And I haven't been able to base these Saurus. I'm kind of out of places to stick these guys. I'm not going to be able to put all 24 of these together and have anywhere for them to be. So I will be smart and only put together 4 of them so that my next painting project will be these 4 help me get the
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
color theme right. and one of the basilisks. All else fails. Hey, Alicia, can you move that controller any further away from the mic? Your button clicking is louder than we're talking.
I'm sorry. I'm in a horrible place right now.
Well, that's fine, but be in a horrible
like
place quietly.
Really.
Crap.
She does everything angrily, so...
God damn.
And watch the mouth. We didn't put this on 18 or older.
Alright, I've got like 10 minutes to kill 400 dudes, and like giant freaking monsters keep showing up.
I would recommend go nuclear.
It's hard to go
option.
nuclear on with Lana. She's not a very good character to go nuclear with.
So there, I have 4 skinks with nice stabby spears to drive forth salamanders.
Yeah, those new skinks are so much better than the old models. Oh my god, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Those 5th edition, I mean, I don't know. They're fine. I mean, that starter box set was a great, investment, or at the time, certainly. But yes, like model-wise compared to their modern equivalents, I mean, it's just not even close. I was realizing, so Skip, where are your what era are your Bretonnians from? Like, I've seen them in the report, but it's kind of hard for me to tell at the distance. Obviously, I've watched plenty of your Bretonnians on parade.
They're from the eBay era.
Yeah, the eBay era. Yeah. Whatever is a hodgepodge.
Gotcha. Well, here's how you can tell a difference. You see this guy right here?
Yeah.
See that horse? See how his thing is like swooping back and there's no shield on the side? The barding has no shield on it. Those are the 5th edition horses. Okay? This guy,
got a few of those.
Where he's got the shields on the side, like, or whatever you want to say, the emblem, that's a 6th edition horse.
Got some of those.
Gotcha. So kind of a split between.
Yep.
What I noticed today for the first time was the difference here. Look at the size difference between these 2 horses, between 6th and 5th. Look at how crazy different that is. Like, they must have fed their, Bretonnians must have fed their horses some real Wheaties in between the 2 editions. Is your Green Knight metal or resin?
Metal.
Gotcha. Now, how much of that army came like painted when you got a hold of it? Did you paint much of it, or did it come painted, or what was your? How'd you encounter it? I'm just looking for experiences with the Bretonnian experience.
Kind of a mixture. Most of my peasants, the men-at-arms, I'm painting myself.
I know as far as the ones I gave you, I had most of the knights painted by the time we did that trade.
Right.
So I painted a good hunk of them.
Some I've painted, and some I've bought painted.
Gotcha.
Like my Grail Knights are where I bought painted.
And you have like the legitimate Grail Knights, right? Like
yes.
The current sort of, I guess what we'll say, current edition Grail Knights, as it were.
Yes.
Gotcha. No, I think are really good looking models.
They are, actually.
They're just not $100 good looking.
No.
Hey, $74.25. Much more reasonable.
Yeah, but that gets you what, 5 of them?
5 knights. Yeah.
Show me a lance of 5 knights that works, and then we'll talk about your discount.
Well, you put there's going to be 3 paladins up front, so of course then it's just like Lord, 2 paladins, damsel in the middle. Boom, that's 9 knights. You got a lance, you're good to go.
I think that's the real reason that Skip decided not to start with Bretonnia for our new campaign, is with the rules we're doing, he can't afford to freaking character wall it.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just hoping I can get these lizard men done by the time we're ready to start it, or at least get enough of them done so I can field 1,000 points.
What are you gonna? You said I saw on the show. You said you were thinking about a mostly skink-based force.
To a certain degree, I'm not doing like Temple Guard. I'm gonna have by the end of it like a 32-man brick of Saurus that are like spears and bus style, but they're not going to be the first group I'm bringing. Like my first 1,000 points I got set up as like I've got a skink cohort with a single Croxagore in it, 2 10-man skink skirmisher units. I've got Mapi Kaju, who is my wizard and the skink priest of heavens, and Kubonai, the skink chief. What the hell else am I putting in it? A Bastillodon.
Pokemon.
Shut up, you.
Pokemon.
A Bastillodon, either the Ripperdactyls or the Pterodons, whichever one I decide to go with. 2 Salamanders. And I want to say there's something else, and I don't know what it is. But that might be 1,000 points.
Feels pretty good. It's amazing how much you can get on the table when you don't have to pay for those fat frogs.
Yeah. Well, that's actually one of the things, because we're having the campaign in the old world. One of the first things I actually want to earn before I even introduce the Slann is the Slann discipline that lets him be ethereal and unstable.
Yep.
With the idea of him like just sending his force ghost out to check on things before he comes over himself.
Nice.
So that's kind of the plan.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you're going to have to earn all of those Slann powers, right?
Yes, I am.
Nice.
It's going to be crazy.
So, like, is Michael going to have to earn every rune? Like,
Yes.
over 15 points, basically?
Yes.
That's a lot of runes.
It is. But with as much as we're limiting the magic too, we didn't feel it really balanced to let him earn a rune once and then use it as many times as he wants. So.
Sure.
I mean, he'll still have the benefit that he'll be able to combine his magic items in different ways, whereas we won't. But
right. And realistically, dwarves are pretty strong at that lower point level anyways. Like, honestly. Because those little tough bastards don't lose a whole lot at that point level.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what I'm worried about is my entire army for the Lizardmen has leadership 6.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, I was originally, when I first built the list, I built it and just had Kubonai as my general, and I was ready to rock, and then I looked at this list and I was like, Jesus Christ, I made a leadership 6 army with no BSB. So I had to shift it around a little bit, and now Mapi Kaju is the general, and Kubonai, I'm going to have to figure out a way to anchor a banner on him once I put him together or something so he can be my battle standard bearer. I think I'm just going to magnetize it because I don't want him to be that permanently, because when the Slann shows up, I want to take advantage of the Slann being general and BSB. But
oh yeah, sure, of course. Then you got to go out and earn that standard of discipline right away.
Well, in standard of discipline, 15 points.
Oh, maybe it is. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you're right.
We're good on that.
Hey, there you go. Forgot all about that.
And the nice thing is, with the rules, standards are actually the easiest magic item to get, because you can win them with the victory table. You don't have to buy them all.
Okay.
So you essentially have two different ways to accumulate banners, which is nice.
Sure.
But yeah,
which also makes sense because it's like the most common thing that often tends to be scattered around the army, right? So that, exactly. I think that tracks.
Yeah. So yeah, I did have so that was all I had in the 1,000 points. So it's Mapikaju, Kubanai, 2 units of 10-man skirmishers, a 20-man skink cohort with full command and the Croxagore, 2 hunting packs with extra handlers, Bastillodon with the solar engine, and Pterodon riders. And that brings me to 999 points for my first list. So
That's not too bad at all.
no,
I think that's pretty good. And I mean, realistically, with that lower leadership, whatever you have, you have
cold-blooded.
yeah, you have cold-blooded, exactly. Like I think the first, like, I don't know, but like the thing I'm always shocked at is just how often lizardmen can achieve insane courage, right? When they need those 2 and they stick it. Because when you're rolling 3 dice and taking the best 2 in BSB range, like, your statistical odds of getting that 2 are just so much higher than most people.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, you are right. The base skinks are ballistic skill 3.
Okay.
But they are a point higher than their weapon skill, which is why I was thinking 4. It's just that their weapon skill is 2.
Yeah. Also, toughness 2. I remember that.
Yes. Strength 3, toughness 2. Gotta love that across my entire freaking army.
Hey, the Bastillodon's really tough.
Yeah, my general's not. General's
Yeah.
toughness 2. With a
Well,
6 up
be
ward
careful
save
with that
because
guy.
it's all I could afford. So you get
Sure.
this 6 up armor, 6 up ward.
on the bright side, the way you guys are limiting characters, it's not like anyone's swinging in with a Blender Lord, right? I mean, that's so, whatever.
Dude, you don't need a Blender Lord. Peasants are hitting him on 4s and wounding him on 2s. That's my general, ladies and gentlemen.
So maybe be careful with him. I think that's what we're hearing here.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Yes.
funny too because at some point you're gonna have this really vulnerable general for a while, as far as like getting his teeth kicked in, and then all of a sudden you're gonna unlock that dumb frog, and like have enough points to get a unit of Temple Guard and go to like the unit that never dies unless the Slan himself kills them through miscasts.
Yeah.
The number 1 killer of Temple Guard always is and continues to be Slan. I have never killed as many Temple Guard in a game as my opponent has.
Yeah, I love the Temple Guard, but I'm putting them off. They're not part of my first wave of purchases, though. So apparently we're getting some comments. Shy Guy 19898 is here because he saw the Wii U. Wants to know what game you're playing, Alicia.
Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, it's not Smash Brothers. It is actually Hyrule Warriors. And Caleb says the child in him loves dinosaurs and is drawn to the lizard men. He can't wait to see mine.
Lizards
Thanks
in
for that.
space.
I'm doing too. Like I'm trying to go for radically different
Mm-hmm.
colors. Like the Saurus are going to be that blue and green. My skinks are going to be orange and red with a little bit of yellow for highlights. And I'm trying to come up with a different paint scheme different color scheme for each of the dinosaurs. So it's just going to be like this giant rainbow colored mess.
I see nothing bad about that. That's the whole point. That's the advantage. Hell yeah, I say steer into it. Like bright colors everywhere, like a rainbow 8 sherbet ice cream, and the results of what he crapped out should be what your army looks like.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, I at least know I'm going to go darker with the Bastillodon, which is really funny because it's going to bear the solar engine. And I just thought that was funny.
Nice.
Eat it, Poe.
But I'm thinking of going like bright red with the Stegodon. I might go like a purple scheme or something with the Pterodons if I do them. I don't know what I'm going to do for the Rippers yet. I don't know.
Well, it's a chance to work in those. I mean, realistically, it's like lizardmen and demons. Those are your chance to work in that like pastel color scheme that's just outrageous and would never have a home in like any other army. Like even the Bretonians don't play in those color spaces, right? Because you can't be throwing like pinks and purples around on knights. Well,
Well, you
I guess
can, but
if you're Naren's aide, you could, I guess. But,
right. I've actually been. He was talking about selling his ponies army. I
Yep.
have seriously been tempted to buy that off of him for my daughter.
Because
you
that's
wanna
the
talk
army
about
that she
gateway
wants the
drug.
most.
What? What was that, Vince? Alicia was talking it while you did.
You're fine. I said you want to talk about a gateway drug into Warhammer for a
Yeah.
young girl. Boy, oh boy.
Well, she already wants to play with me. She has her own little box of D&D miniatures that she calls her army. And so when we sit down to play, she always asks if she can bring out her army and play.
Nice.
So
Are those like the D&D minis from the mid 2000s, etc.? All those guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
She keeps them in a little Tupperware container that she has around the house somewhere.
Nice. Those D&D minis so useful. I have I think like a cabinet full of them, and I will say, very valuable. Like I do not regret any of that investment. It's just so nice
Yeah.
during the game to be able to whip those out.
Most of them are ugly as sin, but I agree with you.
Boy, is that the case, right? Yeah, like, I'm not sure. I think you're really underselling it when you say ugly as sin.
I'm thinking the really bad sins.
Yeah. Yes, these are definitely mortal sins. There's no venial sin going on here.
Right.
But that being said, still very useful. And some of the larger ones are okay. It was always like the man-sized figs are the ones that are just like,
Right.
globs of nothing.
And I got all their giant dragons, and those are pretty cool.
They are, yeah, absolutely.
Although to this day, I'm still pissed off they didn't do the green dragon in that gargantuan size.
It gave you a reason to buy me a giant dragon and have me paint it green. Shut up.
It does, but it's what the completist in me.
Sure.
Just like, Arr!
You
had
one of my
5 freaking
dragons
colors
so
to
much
do.
better than the other one.
Yes, that's the problem though. Is like the others look like crap in comparison. So it's like, it would be nice to have 5 dragons that look like crap instead of.
So do you have even the colossal red, like the
Yes,
real
I
big
do.
boy? Nice.
Yeah, he does.
Yep.
In fact, my daughter, who's 3, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, told me she wanted to help me plan the last adventure I ran the group through this past Sunday, and I asked her what we should use, and she pointed at the big colossal red dragon and told me to use that.
I like the way she's thinking.
My daughter's an evil thing.
Yep.
She believes in the mantra "No mercy for the PCs," and I actually got her to say that this week, and it was funny as all hell.
Nice.
wouldn't be-
What level were they?
We're
Pardon?
What
5.
level was your party that this adventure was being written for?
5.
Seems like the perfect time for a colossal red dragon. I don't get it. Where's the issue? Sounds exactly like me.
These guys had trouble handling spiders last session. We want.
I don't have a dragon guy.
Hey, sometimes you got to win with your brain. You can't always win with your sword. You just got to outthink that colossal red.
Yeah, they're
I do my
bones.
share of outthinking stuff. But beer and Skittles luck can only take you so far, alright?
Mhm.
It's beautiful.
I'm just saying, I love. There is nothing in D&D like the challenge of having the PCs run into something that is so out of their league that they now have a very serious decision on their hands of how do we run? If we fight, how do we fight? If we talk, what do we talk? How do we get ourselves out of this? I love that stuff. Truly, that is some of my favorite stuff in the game.
Well, that's pretty much what had happened to them the first session, where they came up against the 8th level cleric and all his mooks, and that turned into just some crazy bullshit right there.
I could see
I
it.
think.
God, I hate wild magic with fire of 1,000 suns.
But I think we talked about this.
Yeah.
Didn't you and I talk about this? Of like, I didn't understand how Alicia could hate wild magic. It made no sense to me
Mhm.
because I love wild magic, and Alicia, you play orcs and goblins, and Mittierim explained that like there's a sort of distinction in how you view it. But I just like, to me, it's like those two things go together. If you love orcs and goblins, you'll love wild magic.
I have been dicked over by random magic effects in so many D&D games. I literally cannot stand it. To this day, somebody says, I want to play a wild mage. I instinctively want to kill them. Just... How about I randomly shove a sword in your damn chest? How's that for random?
Well, that's the whole fun of it. Yes, it's unpredictable. It's chaos.
It's
That's what makes it
TPK.
exciting. Hey, sometimes it can happen.
Oh.
You gotta bet big to win big. That's all I'm saying.
Well, usually these guys, when they bet big, they lose big. So.
Oh my god.
Party on.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, I've mentioned to you before of me working on that, this new game, and we finished up our wild magic table for that, because obviously when given the project and having to be a sort of like very faithful update of a new game that's certainly on the second edition style platform, I felt like Wild Mage had to have a place in there. And I will say there have been few things I've done in game design as fun as creating a new wild magic table. Like, that is just a good time. Whenever you can write the words "you catch on fire" as the effect of you for a player trying to cast a spell, that's a good time.
I fully agree.
Yeah.
I also particularly, there was one on the table that I really loved that was the effect of for the wild surge we're talking about here. 1,000 gold pieces appear in a bag in front of you. It came from someone, and they know you have it. And
I like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one. Instant enemy.
Did you do something like the personality switching? Because that was a particular favorite of mine that we've had happen recently.
Oh, absolutely. I have voice swaps, gender swaps, body swaps, and brain swaps. You gotta cover all your bases.
Very nice.
I'm a big believer. Like, if the enemy gets control of your body. Oh, and by the way, like there's one of the sort of like kind of mechanics we've worked into the game is this conception of like in paying homage to this is the idea that a thing that's been around forever. We just kind of codified it of hexes and curses. You think about like curses were obviously always a thing in D&D. You had remove curse and stuff like that, right?
Right.
So we just kind of expanded that out a little bit. And so when I came to the wild magic table, I was like, oh, well, here we go. All those things, instead of having durations of like D10 rounds or something like that, all of those effects are curses. So like you swap bodies with the enemy, curse. So until a remove curse is cast on you, they've got your body. Which, I'll tell you what, the first time that happens to a player in one of my games, I'm going to have the villain immediately sprint away from the battle. Just run. Just run away with the with the player's body. That is the best piece of loot they could have stole.
Oh, you dick!
Alicia's still regretting the fact that when she switched bodies with that cleric that she didn't spend all of her time looting every magic item he had.
Absolutely. Just if you switch to the enemy, you just start stripping naked, right? Just like take it all off, throw it on the ground.
If my character had any idea of what's going on, yeah, I would have done that, but I didn't.
Yeah. She's playing the Wolfen, the race that she made, so
Yes.
Understanding biped is not really in her nature at this point.
Gotcha.
Well, it's not the whole understanding biped thing, it's the whole, that was completely random, has never occurred on the world bit. thing.
Mm.
Does the society have a strong idea of wealth, anyways?
Not really.
So, like, yeah, I mean, those things might even not be of real value to the character, right? Like, why
Yeah.
would she take all the money? Like,
It's
it
not
doesn't-
so much. It wasn't so much the money. It's the fact that they were protecting him, and because I didn't loot his stupid body when I had the chance, he got away. And
all the
probably
good guys,
killed us.
all the good bad guys get away. That's what good bad guys do.
I've ruined a lot of D&D campaigns by actually killing the bad guy. So
I gotta have a couple of them get away though, on occasion.
That's what makes them good. And then sometimes, even when they don't get away, sometimes they still come back anyways. You can't keep a good bad guy down.
Yep.
Because if doesn't matter how fun the players are, if the villains are flat, the game is going to be boring, right? Like, it's a two. Yeah, I don't know how to complete this metaphor, but you get the idea. You need both.
Right.
yeah,
No, I absolutely agree with you.
There was this guy I played with my buddy Travis, and he was truly the master of the recurring villain. Like, this guy, we played a Shadowrun game. I don't know if you've ever played that, but we played a Shadowrun game back in the day, and I swear to God, there was a villain that just would not stay dead, period, ever. Like, we would kill him, he would come back, we would kill him, he would come back. Like, which made perfect sense, because, the world is all, I don't know if you know about Shadowrun, but it's like, future...
it's all screwed up.
Yeah, it's future, like, shadow games and, big corporations, and there's always a plot afoot, as it were, that kind of stuff. So,
It's cool.
fun game. Even though it has mechanics I hate, but fun game.
So Skip, apparently Vince is going to take all the rules for our new campaign and run one of his own.
Oh,
Yes,
awesome.
indeed. Absolutely. I am excited to steal them unashamedly, so there you go.
Are you going to have players that take the two worst armies you could take?
Do you mean, like, is there going to be a Tomb King and a Beastman player at the table? No one owns a Beastman army, and I'm the only one who owns Tomb Kings, and I probably won't play them in the campaign. I'll probably play my Skaven. I'm sorry, as much as I do love my Tomb Kings, I really do. Like, I have a love for them that is hard to quantify. But however much it is quantified, I can tell you that Skaven have a bigger number. Whatever number Tomb Kings is at, Skaven is that +1.
Right. Yeah, I'm still working on the random events table. I'm not entirely sure how I want to handle that, because I was looking at the one for Blood in the Badlands, and so much of it has to do with the map setup. So I'm going to have to essentially redesign that from the ground up.
Yeah, you mean, like, as opposed to something happening during the game, right?
Right, yeah. It happens to the outer map, or you get X number of points more than your opponent, which when we played through Blood in the Badlands the first time, that was the most obnoxious result, because it made it very difficult to have even fair games when your freaking opponent had 25% more army than you did.
Yeah, that's pretty silly. I think, like, to me, I think the essential part of the table is that the vast majority of the table doesn't do much. And by that I mean, like, I think it's cooler if it comes up less often but has a bigger impact. So, like, I would love to see it where you don't roll at the beginning of the game. You roll, like, at the top of every, turn, like, not every player's turn, but, like, at the top of 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, right?
Mhm.
And it changes the game in some way. But the majority of the time it does nothing. So, like, it would be very possible to play for that game and have nothing happen. But then, so at best, it happens, like, one round. But then there's going to be the weird game, it happens 2 or 3. But for the most part, you get 1 or 0 effects. And things like other forces marching on, like a small skirmish group comes on, or a building collapses or catches fire, or something like that. I think would be the cool stuff to happen. Really big game changer stuff.
That might be a good way to do it. One of the things that I was thinking about was to come up with different terrain tables depending upon which of the 3 realms that the fight was taking place in.
Okay.
Like have essentially a different terrain generation table for Estalia, one for Tilea, and one for the Border Princes.
Okay.
And so the idea is that things could be slanted, like in the Border Princes, because it's all like on hillsides, you're more likely to have hills and mountain terrain pop up, that sort of thing. So that was the other idea I'm kind of toying with.
I think that's an awesome, and that seems like perfect pregame to me. Absolutely, because then the game will actually feel like, hey, we're really doing this thing, right? Because it's going to feel like you're actually in that place, as opposed to not that you really do this anyways, but I love the fact that you guys actually use, by the way, in your battles, the like terrain stuff, because I use them all the time too. I'm like a huge proponent of that stuff.
Yeah.
And not enough battle reports use them. Like most of it's just like couple hills, couple forests. No.
Yeah, that's actually been really throwing Michael and I as we've been prepping for Brawlers, because that's how Brawlers does their stuff too.
Right.
And it's just throwing me like crazy not to actually have the terrain that's shooting fire at you every turn. And
sure. Not to have a random Grail Chapel that spins the whole game around, or a Dwarven Brew House or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you, those aren't even the most annoying. I think the thing that gets us the most is the daggum water. The mysterious rivers of light that are neither mysterious nor impartial.
That seem to, when I was watching, they seem to generate a lot of Briona's time warp the last time that was run.
They do that until I passed into it with my freaking screamers, and it was like banishment. Blam! Stupid water.
I mean, come on though. Who got the worst end of that? You in that game, or Michael in that game with the Tomb Kings, where they could not stop getting buffed? They were just relentlessly buffed. I loved every minute of that. Yes, I was so sad that the Tomb Kings deserved that win. That was garbage.
Yeah. I was, just for the record, I was sitting at the table side taking those pictures, laughing my ass off.
Yeah.
Every turn, it was so much fun. So War General T says, "Hey gang." Hi, War General T.
Hey.
Hey, bud.
What up?
I hope you got the email. You responded for painting services information. I sent it back to you yesterday and didn't hear anything, so I hope you got that, General T. At least I think it was you. I hope it was you. I hope I'm not just like talking out my ass here.
No, I thought it was T2.
Yeah, it is War General T. So yeah, I sent that to you yesterday, so hopefully you got that. Yeah, like, I don't know. I want this new campaign to be very, very active. I want there to be a lot of moving parts to it. So I think one of the things I've liked the most out of the current campaign we've been running is the level of surprise when she just goes down.
Sure, absolutely.
And I certainly want more of that.
Yeah, because I mean, you can always play a straight game, right? Like all your Brawlers Brash, like your tournament prep games are quote unquote straight games. Although I will say that final trans was hilarious in the one you put up like today, I think, where it was just murdering everything.
Oh my god, that freaking, and that's not even. There is some very strange scenarios for that tournament. Like, the one that gets me is the first game that we go down there to play is Celebrity Nesting Dolls.
Okay.
you start off with who was the first? I got to open this up because I got to read this to you because it's so absolutely insane that if I don't quote this directly to you, you won't believe me, I'm sure.
Gotcha.
Where are you? God. Okay. So it's not the first game. So the first game is the one we already played where there's a freaking unbreakable mountain chimera in the middle of the table just to jack people up.
Right.
Game 2 is Operation Nesting Doll. It's deployment like Battle Line, and in the center of the table, a Gary Busey token is placed.
I like where we're going.
He's got movement 0, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, and toughness of 6, 5 wounds, 5 initiative, 5 attacks, 9 leadership, large target, terror, demonic, demon of Zinch. Gary Busey is sleepy and will not do something unless something is done to it first. If it's charged in close combat, it'll fight back as normal. If it's wounded but not killed during a magic or ranged combat phase, it shoots a spell back at the unit that did the most damage to it. The spell is impossible to dispel and inflicts 2d6 strength d6 plus 4 hits. If you kill it in the first turn, he gives you no victory points. If he's slain after the first turn, whoever inflicted the last wound gains 300. And then you remove it and immediately place the Mel Gibson token in its place.
Which will direct a terrible movie and make you want to cry.
Well, he flies around and does crazy shit.
So exactly what I just said, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So he's got weapon skill 3, strength, toughness 4, wounds 3, initiative 4, attacks 3, 7, leadership. He flies, he's a demon of Zinch, and his close combat against large targets do D3 wounds. He'll fight back in close combat, and if wounded but not killed during the magic and or range combat phase, he'll fly over any units that damaged it and make D3 strength 4 attacks against each of those units. They hit on a 4-up, and then he'll fly back to the center of the table. When flying in this matter, he has infinite movement speed, so he always gets to every unit that wounded him.
Wow.
All right.
Then if you kill him, you get 200 victory points, and you immediately place a Tom Cruise token in his place.
Which will
Nice.
hide in the closet and say it's not gay.
Pretty much. Well, basically, he flames people. He warp flames them all.
So again,
Wow.
I'm correct.
Right. And so then, like, game 3 is the one with the final trans. So that's the last game of day 1. Is you get final transed off the damn table. And so the second day starts with just basically a normal Blood and Glory game. And then the last one is the Ides of March. It's a battle line, but everybody gets to add a leprechaun assassin to their army.
Nice. You gotta like leprechaun assassins.
Yeah, that's what I'm actually using Noblar's 3 model for. Is he's going to be my ogre leprechaun assassin. But 6 movement, 9 weapon skill, 9 ballistic skill, 4 strength, 3 toughness, 3 wounds, 10 initiative, 4 attacks, leadership 8, always strikes first, poison attack, and killing blow. And basically you get 100 victory points for every enemy character slain, an additional 100 if you slew them in a challenge, and then 200 victory points if the Leprechaun Assassin model kills a character, and 300 points if the Leprechaun Assassin kills the enemy general.
Wow.
So it's some crazy crap going down at this tournament is all I gotta say. And then on top of that, they have like scenario cards you have to use one of during each game that gives you different things you have to do for added victory points and stuff like that. So there's a lot of moving parts to this tournament.
Yeah, sounds like it. That sounds pretty awesome, though. I mean, you know you're not in for 5 normal games of Warhammer, that's for sure.
That is for damn sure. It should be pretty crazy. So...
Yeah, I think, I was watching that final trans when I commented on the video, but, like, and I don't know how you play like with the ogres. That final transiting seems almost unnegotiable, right? Because like it's just yes, you have less units, so yes, it's less chances at sixes, but or less models, whatever. But man, every 6 hurts you so bad, right? Like compared to like some guy who's got some Skaven slaves up there, like whatever, I'll park a block of Skaven slaves up there all day. I don't care if I'm losing a 6 of them a turn, like whatever, who cares?
Yeah, but isn't it on normal models? It's a 5 or a 6 that kills them. So.
Oh, I guess that is true. It is a 5 or a 6 on that.
Yeah, it's only 6 on multi-wound models.
Yeah. Yep, you're right.
Which is nice because everything in the ogres do it. But the problem is with Brawler's Bash, and it looks like Lord Kernian just responded to this effect. You really, I mean, to do well in that tournament, you have to squeeze every freaking last point you can get out of every one of these games, and it doesn't really matter if you live or die at the end of it.
Right. If you have 0 models left, but they have 0 models left, and you got the objectives, then that was a win. That was a great game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of how we weren't really sure how to handle it. And obviously the idea of running your general up to it like Michael did was not the right way to handle it. But
it didn't seem the best way to go. I was a bit suspect when that was his tactic.
Well, I think he was planning, he's like, I'm rolling a lot of dice, the chances I'll roll 6 for my characters, not likely, and apparently reality decided to bend him over the table and take that general bottom turn 1, so.
Yes, not likely, but not impossible. It's a 1 in 6 here, folks.
I tell you, though, I don't think I've felt as bad about winning a game of Warhammer as I did during that game. Like, it was, I mean, he basically outplayed me the entire game.
But then still, because of that, he lost at the end, as it were.
Right. I mean, and I wouldn't, if it hadn't been for the fact that he lost both of his biggest hammer unit and his biggest anvil unit, lost more than half of the models to that final trans, I wouldn't have been able to hurt him in that last turn, and that was what let me spin it around.
Right.
So it was weird. I usually feel pretty good when I win a game. That one I was just like, I had no right to play this game. I had a terrible list and I played like ass, and I still won by 400 points.
Well, I was really worried when like top of 1A he blows your Iron Blaster off the table with like the laser cannon. I was like, that's no good.
I am seriously, for a plug nickel, I'm going to leave that damn thing at home.
I don't know, man. I hear, like, I totally hear you when you said, with what Ann said, it's like if you need 2, if you have 1, it's like having none. Like, I get it. I really do. I get that. But at the same time, like, I don't know, man. The cannons are so good, and they are the answer for so many problems. Like,
when someone else is using them, I absolutely agree. When I am using them, no, I have no luck with them.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like I play them like I'm retarded. I do the 10 off the back thing that everybody else does, but my dice rolls look like they were done by a retarded monkey, so I don't hit anything.
Sure.
You mean you don't have retarded monkey rolling dice?
Sometimes I wonder. I think I need to buy a new set of dice before the tournament anyway, because the 2 that I got seem to have been corrupted by Slash and enjoy torturing me.
Oh, then you have been blessed. That is what I just heard.
Well, it is blessed when I'm playing my Slaneshi army. They tend to be a little possessive and don't do well when I play everyone else.
Ah, gotcha.
Because they actually do very well for me when I'm playing my demons, but not so much with everything else. And it was ridiculous. I didn't write down or comment on the rolls that I was doing during that game, but what was it? I hit that that last dwarf unit with the ogres and the butcher. It's like 4 ogres worth of attacks, needing 4s to hit, 4s to wound, I do 1 wound and he armor saves it.
Nice.
And it's like, and that's including the stomps. Keep in mind. And
Sure.
the great weapon wielding butcher who's wounding on 2s. So between all of it, I did freaking 1 wound and the armor saved it.
At the same time, though, wasn't it a pretty long bomb charge for you to get your man-eaters into that last group after that last final trans?
No, because they were Swift Striders.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. You did have Swift Stride on them, right? Swift Stride and Poison or something?
Yeah, I really like that build. What I'm actually thinking of doing is, instead of the Iron Blaster, taking 3 more Man-Eaters and giving them Scout and something, and just getting them the hell up into somebody's face.
Yeah, Scout on Man-Eaters is really potent. I mean, like, I think I've seen, like, Lord Inquisitor, I'm sure you've seen his Ogre army, right? The Samurai Ogres. And I've seen him, I think, use both the build you were using, the Swift Stride and Poison, and then the Scout and Poison.
Yeah. Well, I can't use Scout and I can't use Poison again, so I gotta figure out what other rule I can use. But,
right, yeah, no, not at the same time. I just mean, like, 2 different armies.
Okay.
Yeah, not simultaneously.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. I may do, like, Scout and Immune to Psychology or something. Or maybe Scout and Stubborn. I don't know. I love the Man-Eaters. Like, the more I play, the more free options they have. I want to do what Keenert did and just bring a horde of freaking Man-Eaters.
Man-Eater horde. That is some dirty dog stuff right there.
Did you see his battle report where he did that? He took him to a tournament?
No, I didn't see it. What number was it?
I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at it.
It must have been like pre-Skaven. I watched his stuff, I think, starting with his Skaven.
Go back. I want to say it was the last tournament he did before he started the Skaven stuff.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, he does this little like 3-game tournament with a horde of Man-Eaters, and none of his opponents know how to deal with it. So he was just like, I don't know. It was crazy just watching it. And he wasn't even doing them as a close combat build. He was using them like the double pistols and poison and just shooting the hell out of everything. It was like watching ogres who had been crossbred with skinks. It was really crazy.
Nice. I will go back and watch that. That sounds pretty awesome, actually. I love unusual builds like that. Like, that's just those things that you never that people don't know what to react to. There's a lot of value in that, both from a fun perspective and from a competitive perspective, honestly.
Like a horde of a Shopti.
Oh, look, Skip. Okay. Skip,
Feeling of shop.
Look, I love Ushabti. You are gonna find no bigger booster of Ushabti in this world than myself. Okay. I have 9 painted Ushabti on the table behind me, which is a ridiculously large number for those stupid models, just because they're so dumbly expensive. I hate how much they cost. And the problem is a horde of Ushabti, so 900 points in Strength 4, Toughness 4, 3 Wound, Animated Constructs. That's what we're talking about here. That's the heat.
That sounds like a Skip unit if I've ever heard of one.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean,
throw a Necrotech in there. They got a 6-up regen.
throw a Necrotech in there so he can get points picked out right away.
In case, just in case anyone has wondered why we tend to beat Skip like a redheaded stepchild, just listen to these tactical gems he's dropping here.
I think here's what I'll say. Okay. If you, all right, here we go. Here's how we do it. Here's how you make the Ushabti horde work. You have to go. You have to play an Undead Legion's army, number 1. Okay. And I think you're right. You need a Necrotech because any regen is going to be better than no regen, so fine. And then once they've got that, then you've got to have a Mortis engine driving around behind it to up the regen. Okay, so that should make it 5 up if that serves right in my head. And then, so I don't know how many points we're up to now to make this 900-point unit work, but it's a lot.
You're up to like 1,200 plus points by my count.
It's fine. They are clearly the center of the army here.
Right.
And then on top of that, you've got to take a vampire, go dark lore or whatever the name of the vampiric power is that gives you other lores besides their normal stuff. Okay.
The forbidden lore, yeah.
Yeah, and you've got to have the lore of metal. Okay, so you can give those stupid idiots like better armor saves and the magic. But I don't remember the name of the metal spell that's a magic weapons or whatever. Yeah.
Well, you know, while we're dreaming, why don't you go ahead and do 2 Mortis engines? Then they'll have 4 up regen.
Well, I mean, come on, let's be reasonable. No.
Well, I'm saying if you pump up the next, you do the 4 up regen, or the second Mortis engine plus your vampires, then you've got your basically your 25% core and you're done. So you do like a 600-man zombie horde is your core, and you're good to go.
No, you need all dire wolves as your core so you can chaff out everything, and because otherwise that horde is just going to get blocked the whole time. You know, with their stellar 5 or 6 movement. I don't even remember. It's been a while since I've taken Ushabti to walk anywhere.
I don't remember if I told you this, but I got so mad when I found out that you can only have 20 dire wolves in a unit. I was going to horde those sons bitches up.
Guys.
I actually have a way to make Ushabti useful. You want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay. You buy as many as possible. You grind those bitches up and put them in a paint pot, and then buy something useful and paint it with it.
So you've got Ushabti bone?
Challenge accepted. I'm going to make Ushabti work.
I think the better way to make them work is because they're like, are they old metal models, Vince?
No, they do have a new resin. They're I think they're in fine cast now. Like
okay, well,
they remade them as fine cast.
Buy up about 10 of the old metal models, keep them in a bag next to your army table, and whenever your opponent is about to make a brilliant tactical move, you pull one out and huck it in his head. It is the ultimate shock and awe tactic.
Oh, they'll kill a man. No doubt. Like, yeah, they're heavy. They're, like, people will die. That is true.
You just take the lore of Undeath and just make them appear right in front of people and use them as chaff.
Yeah, like, honestly, the way Lord Tremendous uses them is probably, like, the best possible use of them. Because, like, summoned bow Ushabti are not useless. They can hold their own against, like, you know, small stuff. And strength 6 bows that you didn't pay for are pretty decent. Like, I mean, I ran a big 5,000 point game where I had 2 2,500 point Tomb King armies, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna go all gunline with this. And one of my armies was like all shooting. I had a bone giant with a stupid bow, and I had 9 Ushabti all with bows. And yeah, I mean, whatever. It was fine. It was okay. I still got my teeth kicked in, but you know, it was fun. They still always hit on 5s, so you know, even with the big bows. And that's not nothing.
Here's my 1,000 point that I just started working on for the first one. I have to take a Lich Priest because I have to have the Hierophant.
Right.
So that's necessary. I have, as my core, 25 Skeleton Warriors and 2 sets of 10 Archers as core.
Okay.
And I went with a Necrotech because I wanted to go animated construction, constructs. So I took 3 Stalkers, 1 Colossus, and 3 Ushabti.
Say that again. Say your special again.
Yeah, 3 Ushabti, and 1 Necrolith Colossus, and 3 Stalkers.
3. Okay. So you got 3 Medusa snakes, as Lord Tremendous is so fond of calling them. Yep. Ushabti and the Colossus. And there's no rare in this. I assume we hit our 1,000 there.
Yeah. The rare is the Colossus.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
You know.
Brain not working. Too much glue. Yeah, I mean, I could see the Colossus being very normally I'm pretty anti the Necrolith Colossus, which is a shame because I mean he has the coolest picture in the book. I wish the model looked anything as awesome as that picture in the book of that dude sweeping forward and just chopping down knights and being amazing. But I think at 1,000 points he honestly could do some really good stuff. So I don't think that's a terrible choice. And he's pretty cheap for what you get out of him. I mean, he certainly makes the Gorgon look like a dummy head, given that he's 100 points cheaper and about as effective. Yeah, you should not do that with you, Shopti. You should not start with 850 points. Skip. That's all I'm saying. No, I don't know. They're not. Honestly, I go for it. My problem with them is a couple fold. Apparently this just became Ushabti cast. I'm sorry. This is probably super boring to people who aren't Tomb Kings nerds.
Dude, we seriously just did 40 minutes on D&D and Shadowrun and random stuff. If we've got anybody still watching us, it's a miracle. Go ahead.
My problem with them is they're just missing something. They just don't do enough. Because if you give them the bows,
that's what they're missing. Victory.
Yeah, absolutely. If you give them the bows, the shots are all fairly worthless. It's okay to have it, it's neat every so often, but the shots are mostly worthless. If you give them the great weapons, they've got a pretty decent hitting power, because they go up to strength 6, but then they've got the ASL and they tend to get their butts kicked because they're toughness 4 with a 5-up save, so they tend to get their butts kicked before they ever go. And then if you give them the 2-hand weapons, then they don't hit hard enough against half the stuff that they should be killing, right? Because then they're only strength 4. I feel like they're just one stat away. Ushabti look at crypt horrors and cry. That's the thing. I want to love them. They are without a doubt beautiful. As models, they are amazing.
Yeah. Fun story about crypt horrors. Did you see that early battle report I did from the first tournament I went to where I held up a brick of 8 of them with 3 eddies when I was charged in the side?
Yes. Which is awesome.
That's my favorite Yeti story. It still gets me when I think about it.
What's a Yeti cost each? You forgive my lack of knowledge. How much? 43?
43.
Yeah, why are Ushabti 50 points? Let me just put, again, I'm just going to go back to this. That's because even Yetis are better than Ushabti.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, what are Yetis? Yetis count as magical attacks, right? Automatically.
They count as magical attacks, and anyone who's adjacent to one drops their weapons by a point. And there's movement 7 striders with strength 5, toughness 4, and 3 wounds.
Yep, they're better by a landslide. It's not even close. I guess the only Yetis are rare choices, though, right?
No, they're special.
Oh, okay. Well, then, nope, better in every single way. Stupid, goddamn you, Shopti. I want you to be good. I really do. All I keep finding is other monsters.
Shopti don't panic. That's what they have on the Yetis.
Yeah, sure. They're paying the undead tax. Yeah.
Yeah,
well, you can paint. That's it.
They are
paint. And you can give them bows. I mean,
but here's something: you could cast the righteous smiting on them. It gives them the extra attack. Then you could, maybe throw the killing blow on them as well.
Yeah.
And then they become, you're looking for 6s, but hey.
So what you're saying is the good buff spells function when you cast them on them.
Right.
That seems like a pretty low bar because also like I agree. When you've got the bow shop tee and you do the multi-shot on them, that's actually pretty awesome. Because like now, if you have like a block of 6 of them, 300 points. If you like, I want you to stack up how many Empire Great Cannons you get for that, and then like talk about the strength 6 shots coming out of there. But anyway, like, like if you multi-shot them, all right, 12 strength 6 shots hitting on 5, so you're gonna hit with 3 on average, probably wound depending on what you're shooting, wound on 2 of those. That's not terrible. That's pretty good against something like cavalry. The problem is without that spell, and like I'm almost, but other than that, killing blow spell. I don't know. That killing blow spell feels like it's pretty good when you put it on things that already have killing blow, because then they go 5/6, like on a war kitty or a tomb guard or any of the other wondrous killing blow things. I'm saying fit a kitty cat in there. Do you own a kitty cat?
No. You mean Necrosphinx?
Yeah.
You own one of
not the Sphinx, the war kitty. The one like Lord T.
Yeah, I do have one of those, yes.
Okay. Yeah, the Necrosphinx is pretty, like, he has a couple uses, but he's all in all not. There's too much other... The rare section's the only good place in Tomb Kings, and he just doesn't live up to the casket and the Hierotitan and crap like that. But, man, that war kitty... Gold. Solid gold. Did you see that game with Lord T, like his game 5 at Shiloh Slaughter, where that thing killed the board? Like,
Yes.
I mean, God, that was awesome. I'm just saying, 3U shop, you're not going to do that. That's all I'm saying.
I'm sad.
I know, man. Look, it bothers me too. I lay awake at night wishing Ushabti were better. I'd like it's 100% true.
Too sad.
Oh.
I'm just trying to save you from having another Why I Suck at Warhammer video talking about why your Ushabti keep failing. Just having the conversation now.
He needs more content for his channel. Don't stop him for that.
Good point, run. Go all the way then. More Ushabti.
Yeah,
I
but
want
see,
my
everybody
Yetis to be
got
better.
stuck with peasants too, and then I tend to win with them. So
I got no issue with that. I've been looking at all sorts of peasant lists.
See, I think I've uncovered Skip's tactical game, and it's a very simple yet genius plan. Skip is attempting to portray himself as such a bad general that the universe itself takes pity on him and alters the law of statistics so that he wins his games.
2 in a row.
You haven't played a game since you won those 2, have you?
No. And I'm gonna play next week if you're doing the one that you already set up.
That'll be the other plus side of going to this to the smaller games in the new campaign. We'll actually get back to being able to do 2 games a night.
Yeah.
With regularity.
Yeah, certainly those Brawlers Bash games, I've got to imagine, take a while to get through.
Well, even now, because I mean, you got to remember, a typical game night for us is the fellas arrive here at like 7:30.
Okay.
We get the board set up, get terrain done, and that usually takes 40 minutes or so. And then usually by that time, it's time for me to put my daughter to bed, so I go put her to bed if I remember. Otherwise, she stays up way too late. And so that takes half an hour or more sometimes. And then we don't really get even into the meat of the game by that point till after 9 o'clock. So by the time you play a 2,500 point game, it's midnight and everybody's got to go home because they got to work the next morning. So
Sure.
Yep.
I mean, when we used to do the 1,000 point and smaller games, we could get a couple of them in. Even 1,500 points, it was pretty easy to get 2 games in a night.
Yep. With no problem.
Yeah. And I was thinking that maybe the Triumph and Treachery game would be a way to get around that and let everybody play, but that takes even longer.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, just because of the sheer size of the thing and so many weird phase changes and stuff going on everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I had to remove my Shopti then. Oh, sad.
Man, I say more power to the Ushopti. It's not like we're all making asinine choices. I mean, hell, I'm using a leadership 6 across the board army with my general having toughness 2. So
Hey, look, I love fluffy lists. I'm all about it. I'm not over here trying to prep a hard tournament list. But there's bad, and then there's like bad. And like, unfortunately, the most beautiful models that were ever produced for the Tomb Kings and the Ushabti fall into the bad range. But they do.
Yeah.
Here you go, Skip. If you want to get them in, eventually you'll be able to get. You guys can unlock secondary lures, right?
Yeah.
Unlock, because I think you said you're going to let Lore of Undeath in if you want, right?
Yeah.
That's the plan at this point.
Just unlock Lore of Undeath for your army. Just put a little level 2 caster in there. Whatever. Who cares? Doesn't need to be anything impressive. Level 1 guy. Eventually when you're able to get a second wizard. And have that guy summon some Bo Shopti every so often or whatever. They're right on the signature spell. 150 points. Perfect.
He will be Ramek, the Ushopti Lord.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can play him, but not pay him. It's easy. It's the best way to go.
Works for me.
Fair all around. All right.
Shopti aside, I am going with more animated construct list. That's just kind of the theme of my army to begin with. So.
No,
That's
I
cool.
like it. Absolutely. I'm all about that. I had no issue. I like the rest of what you said. Like I said, I think the Colossus will be good. The sepulchral stalkers. Like those guys piss me off so much. They're so good, but why does the misfire have to be D3 wounds? Why? Why can't it just be they take a wound and don't shoot? Why do I have to lose all my shots? And kill a snake, because it's always 3 wounds, at least when I'm rolling it. It's always like, misfire, kill a snake. Great, awesome, that was a good investment of points. Not to mention the fact that they can entomb and die, which is the other thing that happens.
Or you roll it and then it appear like right in the middle of where you don't want them, and then it gets like chomped to bits by a bunch of frickin' dwarves.
Exactly. So, here you go. This is what happens when you paint a knight too bright. I painted this and I was like, wow, this is gaudy as all get out. That is... Okay, I went too bright.
That's perfect for Bretonia, though. They're supposed to be gaudy as shit.
Yeah, that's really gaudy. Mr. Fire Knight here is...
I like it, though.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, good. Well, thank you. Good. I'm glad somebody likes it. I painted it, and I'm not sure I like it, but hey, all right, good. I'm glad somebody does.
You gotta have a love for gaudy colors if you're gonna do Bretonia, man. That's just the way it is.
Sure. I hear you. Yeah, I mean, most of what I paint ends up looking more like that. Like, there's the one that I'm about to finish right there. You can see he's like a
He's
little
very
more
subdued.
Yes. Still bright, but not as bright. Subdued, I think, is a good word. You're exactly right. All right, well, I have to bounce, gentlemen and lady. It has been wonderful doing this with you. I have to go pick up my wife from the airport. I have a feeling if I sit here in the Paintisode and leave her there, she might get a bit upset at me.
Yeah, that might earn you some grief, or wife aggro, as we call it.
Nobody likes that.
Speaking of which, I need to head off myself. I got an early day tomorrow too. So.
Yeah, me too. So this is as good a time as any to call it. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. Thanks. We've actually had like between 5 and 10 viewers the entire time, so that was pretty impressive.
Awesome.
So
well, I hope we were mildly entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, there have been comments coming in, although it seems like people are talking to themselves rather than us. But
hey, that's all right. That's
Now
fine.
I got this wonderful idea to do one of those, like those pet commercials where you got the sad music playing, and just pull up pictures of Ushopti.
Just some Sarah McLachlan music in the
Sarah
background.
McLachlan in the background, yeah.
Yeah.
Why limit it to Ushopti though? What you should do is like show pictures of all of your units that just got broken and beat down in various games.
Which is like my entire Dark Elf army. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Oh, and the
All
side note, let's do another commercial for you real quick. If anybody has wood elves they want to trade for Skip's dark elves, get in contact with him.
Please.
He's still looking for a trade. Awesome. So I'll go ahead and kill this. Thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll catch you around.